So I'm going to switch it up a little bit right now. I'm not going to do a story time about anything that has happened in my life right now. I'm going to talk about a topic that is near and dear to me. Might not mean much to most, but this is something that has bothered me, and it seems to be an ongoing thing that I see even still, today. And the topic that I want to talk about is regarding saggy pants. If men in general, like African American men especially, and young boys, if they knew if they knew how it actually originated, I wondered if a lot of the men that I see running around, young and old, would they be prone to still want to walk around like that? There's nothing attractive, there's nothing inviting, there's nothing becoming about a man who's wearing his pants halfway off his ass with no belt. Or wearing a belt but just sagging, and you see nothing but their underwear. I find that to be the utmost disrespect. We already look black. We already look bad, and we're already put in a little box when it comes to being African American. So why would you want to be racially profiled or be put in a category based on your appearance with your pants? In my opinion, there's a belt for a reason. I've always felt that men walking around like that was off-putting before I actually learned the history and where it actually came from. I had a little bit of a better understanding, but this is 2026, and this still seems to be a trend. Like this is just the thing to do. I'm going to give you a little bit of history as to where it actually stemmed from. If you don't believe me, you can look it up yourself. I like to read. I like to stimulate my mind a little bit. But, so the sagging of the pants originated from slavery times. And basically, a buck is a horse. And there's a term or phrase that's used to break a horse in, which is called buck breaking. Well, back in the slavery times, African American people, especially African American men, were viewed as not being human, that we were, that we're animals or whatever, where we've been referred to as porch monkeys and all that other dumb stuff. I don't even know where that came from, but black, has been sanctimonious or symbolized with being evil. White is supposed to be pure. But getting back to the history of how this all started. So, as I said, a buck is a horse, and a horse has to be broke in, have to be tamed. And back in the slavery days on the plantation, like in the southern plantation, the slave owner would refer to an African American male that they felt were untamed as a buck, and that they needed to be broke in. They used the term buck busting or buck breaking when referring to African American male that they felt that were wild and needed to be tamed. So during this time, what they would do is they were not permitted to wear a belt, and they would sodomize the slave master. The white slave master would sodomize the African American male to break him in, to tame him. And if the slave master was planning on selling this particular slave to another buyer, slave owner, whatever you want to call it, they would intentionally have them sag their pants as a way to represent that they're broken in for the slave owner, whoever is planning on buying this particular slave. It's very dehumanizing. And the men were assaulted in front of their whole family most of the time. They would humiliate them by doing them that way. And so this trend with the sagging of the pants just seems to be, never ending. There's older men, and it kills me. It kills me for me to see any male doing it. But I look at the older generation of men, and they're walking around sagging their pants and all of that. Do you really know what that represents? What does that say about you? As a man, you're walking around plenty of belts that you could be using to hold your pants up, but you rather walk around and have your pants hanging off your glutes. Now, also, I wanted to get into, so back in the 1980s in prisons, they started having the prisoners remove their belts for safety reasons, because the belt could be used as a weapon. It could be used if you're ready to clock up out of here and you don't want to be on the planet anymore. It could be used for that as well, but it stemmed from that. So in prison, the prisoners had no choice but to walk around with saggy pants. Also in prison, the sagging of the pants represents sexual availability to the other male prisoners. Just let that marinate for a minute. Let it sink in for a minute. I know it's a lot to take in. But yeah, is this really how men want to be perceived, as somebody who wants to take it up or or, back to the slavery days, the slavery times. When you're seen wearing the pants like that, it really sets off a really bad opinion or impression. It makes you look like you're delinquent. And it can oftentimes be affiliated with gangsters, people who are in gangs. Tupac and Too Short were the ones who actually started the trend back in the 2000s or the late 90s or whatever. And, it kind of evolved into hip-hop culture as well. Gangsters and hip-hop culture. And then it mainstreamed into the youth wearing that. Please stop walking around like that. There's nothing cute about that. Does not speak about your morals or the class that maybe you're trying to set for yourself. It's just really not a good look. Like I said, if you don't believe me, you don't believe the history and all of that, look it up. That's all you got to do is read. Just look it up. I don't celebrate certain holidays because of what it represents going into slavery. I'm not going to get into that in this video. I'll probably touch a little bit on it in another video, but I just really wanted to speak on this because it irritates my soul to see men walking around like that. And not just black men, any man. It's just, but it's especially for the black men that, I'm concerned about. Stop walking around like that. Pull your pants up, put a belt on. Sky, get in here. There's nothing, that's not cute. Pick up another trend that doesn't have like dark history and all that to it. I know for some who's watching this video, you might have a problem with what I'm saying. I don't care. Said what I said. I don't leave my comment section open because I'm not going to sit here and be arguing with complete strangers through the internet about my opinion. Because that's exactly what it is. It's my opinion. I'm not going to sway or alter that. I'm not going to mince my words or try to appease anybody. This is just something that needs to not continue to be a thing.